So the other day, someone commented on my video, "Girl, why didn't you do a little research?" And to that, I say, that. For a long time, this series was heavily researched videos of every inkling that I got from a movie. And you know what? It absolutely killed my spark. And I realized that my over polishing and perfection was really just a form of me trying to control the outcome. I had to let go of that control. And I think this movie, Now You See Me, is exploring exactly that. So let's investigate. Don't get me wrong, I still love a deep dive. You're just gonna probably find them on Substack or Patreon. And also implementations. It's gonna be cute. You can join for free right now too. So we can talk more. I know you'd love that. And I think some of the characters are kind of a mirror for the different ways that we hold on to that control. So let's take a look.
Because what is seeing? You're looking, but what you're really doing is filtering, interpreting, searching for meaning.
He was in Chicago then?
I want you to see one card, and not this one. That's too obvious. Did you see one card here?
No.
If I saw anything like that in real life, I would lose my mind.
Okay, and sleep. Now, when I snap my fingers, you won't remember any of this. And you, every time you see or even think of Janet, you're gonna picture me naked.
Can people do this in real life? Have you heard of anyone doing this in real life? Because we need to watch out.
Because I'm about to bend this spoon with my mind.
Looks like we got a spoon in the stem.
You have a very good eye, sir.
Thanks. My wallet.
He didn't play fair. Yeah, it's just funny how Merritt like emotionally swindled the guy, and then Jack just kind of like saw an opportunity and took it. Because what were those attempts? I wouldn't go to her magic shows no more. I would be upset.
You need to leave.
Are you kidding? What you do is I've got a sick trick you do to women. Just bring them to your place.
45 East Evans.
The first time I saw the tarot card, that's what piqued my interest. That made me feel like this movie had something deeper going on. And he got the Lovers, which is traditionally a card with two people on it holding hands. I think they're holding hands. All right, they're not holding hands, but it's two people with an angel standing above them. But this Lovers card in the movie has just a heart, and it's in his shoe.
So you wait out here. I will come back and get you, okay? Do not come in, okay?
Hey, Danny.
Yeah.
Not your assistant anymore. Nice hair.
So the four of them all got a card, and they all meet up at 4:44 p.m. in this random hallway because they've been summoned, called. Each one of them is a solo act, and Merritt says,
Oh, okay. So apparently none of us was the only one chosen. Let me be the first one to kick my ego to the curb.
and this only stands out to me because it's not the only mention of ego in this movie. I think this is where we start paying attention.
I know who you are, and I just want to say that I'm not interested in you doing your mentalism thing.
I'm sensing you are a control freak.
It doesn't take a mentalist to figure that out.
Okay, he is a control freak, and he's definitely an asshole. But as the movie goes on, we start to realize that he's not the only one clinging to control here. So I think we just need to take a look and see where everyone's ego is stepping in.
Question, did you get one of these?
Death.
The High Priestess.
I'm the lover.
Hermit.
So I kind of think the themes of each of their tarot cards might hint at what it is they're struggling with when it comes to letting go of control and how that arc is going to play out through the movie. Because the way this movie's set up, I think they're going to have to get rid of that specific thing, or that's what's going to be challenged.
Are we waiting for someone? Why are we just...
The door's locked.
Oh, no, nothing's ever locked.
Which is interesting because it's also like their strength. Like it's what they're very good at. That's what their magic is.
We are going to rob a bank. B513, where are you? Here, please stand up. Ah, there you are. Hi.
Oh, he was so excited to be chosen. Oh, now I feel bad.
Pick a card, any card, not that card. Now, show it to your friends in section B there, but not to us.
Hold on. That card is the same card that was at the bottom of the deck in the like very beginning card trick he did. I wonder if that means anything. Probably not, but that was a cute little detail.
You're fairly famous at one point. Your brother/manager disappeared with all your hard-earned money.
Did you research, did you?
IRS audit, back taxes. Yeah,
And I do appreciate that trip down memory lane.
So I feel like Merritt has a bit of a wounded ego, right? Especially with him getting taken advantage of by his brother running off with their company. Merritt is very emotionally intelligent. That is part of his magic. He knows how to not only read people emotionally, but manipulate people emotionally. The Hermit card in the tarot is kind of a recluse. They withdraw from the world and go within, which is exactly what he did after this betrayal from his brother.
Unless you think there's a DA in the state of Nevada who'd be willing to make sense of this to a jury, then we have a show to perform. And you, Agent Rhodes, have a drawing board to get back to.
He's insufferable. But he also got the Lover's card, right? And the Lover's card is a card of alignment. It's also a card of partnership. And you notice that while he's like the leader of the group, he does not work well with others.
they need to be arrested, you know that?
If it means you would actually do it, then yeah, but you won't. Because if you did, it means that you and the FBI and your friends at Interpol actually believe at an institutional level in magic.
Especially if you think about how like the tension between him and Henley, like they did not work well together. He doesn't get along well working with others, which is probably why, for being so well known, he's still a solo act.
Because abandonment is a big area for him. Mommy, daddy. You have big daddy issues.
Yeah, you can kind of see how he controls the situation here, and he does it by withdrawing himself emotionally. He switched the subject very fast to them emotionally, and then started to manipulate some of their deepest, darkest secrets out of them. And the side-by-side of him and Atlas is so crazy because you can see exactly how what's his name, Daniel Atlas controls the situation. He's got a lot of pride. He wants to be admired. He wants to be right. He's got like the traditional big ego in the sense that you would say about a random person.
Misdirection, a basic concept of magic.
Not interested in the concepts of magic. I want to know how they robbed a bank.
You're an idiot if you think they robbed the bank.
This Thaddeus guy used to be a magician, but he switched to debunking when he realized there was more popularity in seeing how the trick worked. It's kind of a nod to the control metaphor too, if you think about it, because more people want to know how it went just so they can have some form of control versus less people wanting to just experience the trick for what it is and kind of just being in the unknown.
Have feelings of affection for Daniel, unrequited and misguided, owing to his lack of emotional availability. Consequently, you're very tightly...
He could have said it a little bit better than that. But, so, Henley got the card of the High Priestess, and her version of the card is blindfold. They might all be blindfolded. No, her version specifically is blindfolded because she is an escape artist. That is her trick. But also, because I think she is very defensive, very mysterious, kind of on guard. She hides a lot of herself.
The examination.
Oh, hey, Danny, can I talk to you about my role in the show real quick?
Sure. And Jack, you barely see any of Jack, right? He's very naive and kind of inexperienced when it comes to the others. They've just been around in the game longer because he's young, I think. He got the Death card, which is traditionally a card about endings but also beginnings. It was like a card, that same symbolism came up in another movie that I was talking about not that long ago. It was a horror movie. I'll link it. But it talks about how every ending is a new beginning. His is a little bit harder to see, so we will keep an eye out for that.
The eye. They perfected sleight of hand to steal food from the pharaohs and give it to the slaves.
Right, so this whole time they've been recruited by this kind of like secret society called the Eye. Thaddeus describes it as a group that originated from ancient Egypt that used deception and sleight of hand to take from the rich and give to the poor, like Egyptian Robin Hoods with magic.
Hello, Mr. Bradley.
Either you have a cease and desist, or you should leave.
If I want something to cease or desist, it does.
It's so crazy because when you look at it through this lens, everyone's a control freak. He said, what's in it for Tressler?
So what's in it for Tressler besides the money? Ego.
What's in it for him besides money? And she says ego. I think he owns, or he's CEO of Tressler Insurance, and he's very ego driven about it, very arrogant, and to him people's lives are just another number.
Mask comes down.
Put it on the lawyer first.
Oh, yeah,
Remember.
I always do it. Lawyer first,
then myself,
then yourself,
and then the children.
Yes, then the children.
But yes, he's got this big ego that kind of revolves around his wealth, his like material abundance.
They will manacle you with so many injunctions until you stand by hopelessly watching everything that you own drain away.
Yup, there he goes again, trying to exert his power, control the situation, exert his power by throwing his money at it, threatening him at that with a voodoo doll in his hand.
According to superstition, one who uses a doll to enact one's own wrath is likely to bring that very wrath unto himself.
Okay, his ego is very intellectual, which same. Try to learn everything, try to know everything. He's made it his job to explain away everything, to debunk magic. So he exposes the magic and kills the belief by over intellectualizing. Before this second show starts, they do something that like really shifts the energy. She had told Rhodes this story about this Lionel Shrike trick. The magician Lionel Shrike did a magic trick where one of his audience members signs a card and he cuts the tree in half, and there is the same card sign. And before this second show starts, Alma is telling Rhodes the backstory behind the trick, basically debunking it.
The tree grew around the card in 18 years. I mean, that isn't magic. It's not magic.
The point is, the trick was not to look closely. It was to look so far that you see 20 years into the past.
This feels like a whole setup for the idea of perspective shifting. You're not going to see the answer if you're looking too close at the idea. And it's the same thing with control. It's a form of control, I think. You're not going to actually have control if you're gripping too hard onto one thing. So I'm kind of thinking, along with everybody and their egos, that each of these shows might have an idea form, a thought form, like a message they're trying to send.
We ask you to write down your current bank balance. Your bank balance, $562 as of today.
Yeah.
140, am I right? That's 140 million, by the way.
I said, wow.
I'm sorry, Merritt. How can he be right about his balance and everyone else be wrong?
I think possibly because he too is wrong.
He started getting worried because he knew there was only one way this trick could go, because no crowd of people wants to see a rich man get richer. He was worried immediately, and he knew.
Wow.
What's going on there, Daniel?
That's $70,000 less.
Okay, so maybe not perspective shifting, but revealing the illusion.
Everyone in this room was a victim of the hard times that hit one of America's most treasured cities.
We're insured by the same company.
Tressler Insurance.
Behind what this big ego is hiding. They kind of like let down the curtain on the people he had to step on to get it.
Got $82,000 on my bank account. It says it right here on my cell. Everybody look at your cell phones right now. Everybody.
Oof. That cell phone. Oh my God.
You were abandoned.
You were loopholed.
Out of your settlements.
Is all for show, correct?
Oh, meaning we're doing it on stage in front of a paying audience? Then yes.
Yes, that show crushed his ego real bad. By shifting their perspective, they revealed the illusion, and Tressler's ego collapsed, which makes me start to think that each show is kind of symbolic of what it takes to really shift power. Stick with me. Show number one being this giant show of showing all their tricks, showing what they can do. They basically flex their ego. They rob a bank, they get out of it. This is when we start to see like that there is an illusion to be seen. Step number two is to shift your perspective. And that's when your ego collapses. That's when you learn that the thing that you think you can control, you actually cannot. You know, like how I was mentioning earlier, that part of my ego collapsed. I realized that no matter how much control I felt like I had over a video, a piece of content, it was never going to be the thing that stopped someone perceiving me a way that I didn't want to be perceived. You know, that's just what's going to happen. And then within this metaphor, we kind of see how that shifts power. Literally, by transferring the money, and metaphorically shifted the power back from Tressler to them.
The eye are the keepers of real magic.
Candidates for initiations must follow a series of commands with blind obedience.
Some things are only discovered if you take certain
Ooh, okay, I'm getting chills. And Alma is doing her research, girl. She is in it, but she found that in her research, the Eye of Horus is kind of what the eye stands for. I don't know how I missed this scene, but my theory on the eye was more about clarity. That the eye, them searching for this eye, it was about searching for clarity. And in doing that, they had to let go of control.
I want to go to jail, you know?
Then don't screw up. All right, you're always talking about wanting to be treated like an adult. Now might be a good time to start acting like one. Stick to the plan.
Yeah, he's always asking Atlas for permission. Like on the plane, he was asking him for permission. He doesn't have like a ton of lines.
Leave him alone, he's just nervous.
I'm not nervous, okay? I'm scared shitless.
Dude, calm down.
I've risked as much as any of you. I deserve a little respect.
I feel like I respect-
Yeah, he keeps saying he wants to be treated like an adult. But yeah, he's still asking for permission, which is how he kind of controls his situation, because then he's not the one like taking the lead, making the decision.
The firewall's down. Do they know about this?
They who?
They, them, whoever we're working for.
Who are we working for? And are we prepared to go to jail for them?
Yeah, so this is where they have to kind of start to overcome their own egos, especially to get to the last show. This is where the tension really piles on. Merritt's his way to control is emotional withdrawal.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
Well, I don't know what you would do anywhere else.
I'm here for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That's it. And I'm gone.
Atlas and his pride, I think his thing is to overcome self-reliance and his ego. When that gets in the way, he has to really depend on others and work with others. Henley's like really very worried about misstepping. She kind of struggles to adapt because she's so cautious. She has like an overabundance of caution, and that's what keeps her feeling like she's in control.
What is this? They have you chasing empty safes again, eh? Once again, misdirection.
This man made a career out of being a hater. Show number 3 isn't really even a magic show. Like, I guess it is. It's more of a goodbye.
In a rare moment of vulnerability, I'd like to express sentiment to you.
Shedding the piece of their ego that has kept them a little bit held back.
Okay.
Well, when I first met you, I thought you were kind of a dick.
Oh, maybe not.
And?
No, that's it.
I thought this was going to be the moment where they talked it out.
I've been framed.
So we see another ego collapse. It feels like he learns the hard way that his intellect does not mean mastery.
I'm sure you are. Yeah, but I can prove it. I always do.
Because he knows everything doesn't mean he's in control.
It's locked.
Weren't you listening? Nothing's ever locked.
Well done, Mr. Wilder. Good work.
You're a big boy now, Jack.
That's so rude.
You wanted nothing more than to be part of the Eye, but you were never invited.
The Eye isn't real.
Okay, then explain then. Who's behind all this?
He still got that paper cut on his face.
Somebody prepared to sacrifice everything. Somebody so prepared to lose that there wouldn't even be a suspect until the trick was done. Got past them not once, not twice, but consistently. Almost as if they were on the end.
Will he turn into a ghost or something?
I want you to spend the rest of your life in this cell and wondering how you missed it. How you let yourself be so blinded by your ego that you convinced yourself that you were one step ahead when you were always 2 steps behind.
See, there it goes again. He had all this intellect, insider knowledge that he thought would make him the master of this game. Turns out the actual master of this game was the one who actually let go of control the whole time. This man wanted justice for his dad from the very beginning. Like what? What is this? Like a 30-year plan? He became a detective so that he could eventually pull off this stunt. Regardless, he did it. He had to give up his own form of control and put his faith into the unknown of relying on outside help.
I did not see that coming.
When I said always be the smartest guy in the room, we were in agreement.
Okay. His ego kind of has to get put to the side here because he was not the smartest guy in the room. He wasn't the most successful. He wasn't the one calling the shots as he would like to think. And the newspaper says liberation. That's cute.
One more secret to lock away.
Last scene is really cute too because it definitely is like a physical representation of the idea of like logic and control and also faith and intuition. Let's reframe, showing us that there's an illusion in the first place, that control is an illusion by robbing the bank, metaphorically. Then the second show is shifting your perspective reveals the illusion. If you shift your perspective, then you can see through the illusion. I'm guessing the final show has to be, since it really wasn't a magic show, it has to be them escaping the need to control the outcome, because they were all worried about what happens next. And that whole theme there was, okay, we've gone through this transformation. We've kind of had to confront our egos, confront the unknown. And now we don't know what happens next. We don't know if the work we did will pay off. They vanish, but they also kind of lose this identity, their public identity. They're no longer the magician, the mentalist, the escape artist, or even the thief. And I think even the message that's more subtle throughout the film is that transfer of power. You retire the idea of control, whatever you think makes you feel like you have control. You retire that and you inadvertently shift the power as well. Your power is no longer in the thing that you think you're controlling. Your power returns to where it should be, in yourself. So at the beginning of the movie, power looks like control. It looks like who can manipulate, who can pay, who can even just outsmart all the others, right? But in the story, every single character that clings too hard to control loses it, like Thaddeus, like Tressler, while the ones who trust timing or intuition or flow gain power, real power. And in that real power comes clarity. Then by the end of the movie, the ones that still have the real power, that haven't been framed for crimes, are the ones that are truly powerful. And I kind of realized this too in my own personal shift from over explaining, over perfecting, and just kind of trying to let my ideas flow through me. I realized I don't really need to control the specifics of how every detail is expressed. It's kind of evolved into me sharing my perspective in the moment. And because of that, it's not draining, and I feel like I have my power back. This movie really makes you think, who really is more powerful? The one controlling every detail, or the one moving like they have nothing to prove? I like to call these moments ego traps. And if you want to learn more about the ego, I have a whole playlist and a whole video about the control ego trap, which might be pretty relevant to this one. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye.